The Bible isn't just a book of random stories. It's 66 different books that come together to tell one story. An incredible one about God's love for us. And now for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Isaiah. Chapter 9.
Joel hurried along the busy streets of Bethlehem behind his father Nathan. He swung a string bag with the fish his mother had asked him to buy. I've never seen such big crowds. Is it the census? You know the Romans commanded that everyone go to their hometown to be counted. Seems like half the world is from Bethlehem. Yeah, and they're all staying at our house. Why do the Romans get to run everything? Just as Nathan and Joel reached the corner, a Roman soldier galloped through on a black horse, kicking up dust and scattering the crowd. Watch where you're going! Out of my way, little pig! The soldier struck out with the handle of his whip, just grazing Joel's shoulder. Hey! Joel tumbled into the dirt, coughing as dust rose around him. He scrambled to his feet, but the soldier was already gone. Joel, are you all right? I'm fine, but the Romans are awful. Just look! Fish had landed in the dirt, trampled by the horse's hooves. I'm sorry, Joel, but you need to stay away when you see soldiers. Don't give them any reason to single you out like that. He was mean. He could have done more than just knock you down. Come on. Joel followed his father around the corner. If I was riding a horse, he couldn't have caught me. Can I get a horse? Horses are expensive. Well, what about a donkey? Joel? But all these guests at our house, aren't they paying any money? Most of them are family, and those who do pay, well, most of that money goes to the Romans. Taxes will be even higher after the census. Joel dusted off his tunic and glared as they entered the courtyard of their home. We should get rid of the Romans. I'll fight them myself. Find your mother and tell her she's going to have to serve something other than fish for dinner. Grumbling, Joel stalked across the courtyard and saw that his grandfather, Zedek, had been watching from the window of the upper room.
Joel, my boy, can you come sit with your old Zeda?
The last thing Joel wanted was another rambling story, but he climbed the steps anyhow. The large upper room was crowded with sleeping pallets, but at this time of day it was empty, except for Zedek, who sat on a bench by the window.
I've been thinking about the prophet Yeshayahu, Isaiah. Will you humor an old man and listen a while?
Joel crossed the room, tripping over a water skin. He kicked the water skin so hard it burst, spilling everywhere.
I saw that Roman soldier gallop past. You are upset, my boy?
You think? Sorry, it's just the Romans are so mean and they take stuff from us and we've got all these people crowded into our house. Everything's awful.
The Romans are in charge, it's true. But we don't serve them. We serve Yahweh, the Lord.
Yeah, okay, I know, but I wish he'd do something.
You've studied the Torah, God's words. You know the things our God has done.
Joel sighed, staring down into the courtyard. Guests and family members were beginning to return, crowding in.
Sit. Tell me the story of our people.
Joel didn't sit, but he cleared his throat and began. God made everything. He made Adam and Eve, but they messed up. Things got bad.
Then God
promised our ancestor Abraham that he'd have more children than stars in the sky, that they'd form a great nation.
And did God make it happen?
Yes, but our people ended up as slaves in Egypt.
Until God
rescued them. He called Moses to lead them out, but they wandered in the desert 40 years.
Then God
He gave them a home, our homeland, and really awesome kings like David and Solomon. Joel was starting to see the pattern. God's people got into trouble, but then God rescued them over and over.
What happened next?
Well, the kings messed up too, and the people, and enemies took them away.
But God has brought us back to our promised land.
Yeah, except the Romans are in charge now. It's about as bad as being slaves in Egypt.
My boy, God has promised to rescue us again. Remember what Isaiah says.
Zedek cleared his throat and recited the scriptures from memory.
A child will be born to us. He will rule over us, and he will be called Wonderful Advisor and Mighty God. There will be no limit to how great his authority is. The peace he brings will never end. He will rule on David's throne and over his kingdom. He will make the kingdom strong and secure. His rule will be based on what is fair and right. It will last forever. The Lord's great love will make sure that happens.
Joel had heard the words before, but he never really thought about what they meant. So, God promised a king to rescue us again, someone like King David.
But this king will rule forever.
Well, I sure hope he shows up soon.
You cannot hurry God, my boy, but his time, it is always right.
Joel glanced out the window again, and he saw his mother at the gate. She was welcoming a man with a young woman who looked like she was about to have a baby any minute. Oops, I gotta tell Mother about this fish. Joel jumped up quickly, but at the door, he turned back. You really think this king is coming?
I am sure of it.
Then I am too. Joel hurried down the stairs. The Romans might still be making things difficult, but he was more hopeful than he'd been in a long time.